Welcome to the Dateable AF podcast, because women dating women is wild, wonderful, and occasionally a disaster. I'm your host, Dr. Sarah Kyle, a therapist in private practice.
And I'm your co-host, Rachel Howell, researcher extraordinaire.
Welcome everyone to our first live episode of the Dateable AF podcast. We're so happy to have you guys here. We have a few people that we wanted to thank. We want to thank Deborah and Marlene for hosting us here at 1972.
Good count up.
We also want to say thank you to our mentors and trailblazers, Shelly and Jody from
Jody Media, right over there. Woo!
And always present behind the scenes, Joe, that you guys heard about on So we wanted to kick off today by just talking a little bit about some dating stories. We've asked you guys to write some stories down. If you have any stories about particularly good or bad dates, we have some cards over here, or you're welcome to stand up and share your story live if you'd like to do that. If you haven't turned in a card, feel free to fill them out, and we will be reading those out loud.
Can you hear us? Can you hear? Okay. We need to speak up. Speak up. Maybe we can speak up and y'all speak down. How about that? All right. Put a piece of pizza in your pie hole and take a drink. How about that? All right. So we are thrilled to be here, and we really did want to shout out to. We have a lot of friends in the audience, which makes us feel really good about being up here and supporting us, and we appreciate you coming out. That's probably going to be most of the older ladies you see in this audience. Hey. I bet the really good looking ones, the really mature good looking. There you go. Yeah, thank you. And also for all of you that have never listened to our podcast, we're super excited to have you here tonight. And for all of you that we don't know, we hope to get to know you. We love all our listeners. We appreciate you immensely. I need somebody in the back that if at some point you can't hear us, then we need to, give us a thumbs up. Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. Ready to kick it off?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Welcome.
All right, so again, welcome to all of you. We wanted to start off by talking about some dating stories. Rachel and I both have some good and bad dating stories from our own history, but also from friends and people that we have heard. So I wanted to kick off by just telling one that's one of my favorites that I did share on the podcast, and that is that my best friend went on a first date with someone, and at the end of the date, they were sitting next to each other, and she was touching the person's arm, and she said, "Wow, your arm is so smooth. Do you shave your arms?" And the person looked at her with kind of a look of, a little bit of embarrassment, and then the person ended up saying, "No, I actually eat my own arm hair." And so
That's true. It's true.
Story, I swear. So I got a little bit of flack for sharing that on the podcast because I'm a therapist, and the feedback I got was, are you poking fun at someone's mental health? And I am not poking fun at someone's mental health, but what I'm going to say is you don't lead with that. Like, we all works, but you don't lead with the fact that you eat your own arm hair. So I like that.
So we are not telling you anything that is not true, and there's a reason why we are doing this podcast. One reason is because Sarah being a therapist, these stories are coming in our office often, and also because it's a dating. And I'm going to say this: the comment that people make all the time to us is, "My God, I hate app dating. It's driving me crazy." Or, "My God, I want to be a woman in the wild." Well, we're in the wild right here, people. We are in the wild, doing it And if you have a sticker on and you had 45 minutes to mingle around and you either hid your sticker or you didn't put one on or you didn't talk to anybody, this is about as wild as we can get you. This is in person. This is what it's like. I know we've forgotten when we're behind a screen all the time, but this is what it's like when you actually have to walk up to somebody and say, hey, my name is so-and-so. So hopefully you did that. If you did do that and you led with a story or mentioning your ex, or you led with some medical issue that you're currently having, except for our friend Michelle King, who obviously is the only one that can lead with that right now. If you led with that, you are not going home with anybody's digits this afternoon. That is for sure. So just, and if you have listened to our podcast, you definitely, we can help you with those sorts of things. We do have some suggestions on conversation starter. One could be, hey, listen to Dateable AF. You're amazing. Really interesting. So, and the other piece of this is just that the reason it started, I'm going to tell this, you should be telling her, but the thought behind it was Sarah dealing with folks who were constantly complaining about people that were not good dates. And she really, as a good therapist does, decided to put that on its head and what she was saying to her clients is, are you a good date? And so the whole essence is, our idea is we are challenging you to be the date that you want to go out with. So are you dateable as fuck or not, is the deal. So that is the premise of this podcast, and what we do is having you look at yourself a little bit more. Do you want to say anything about that?
Sure, well, I don't know if I want to say anything about that, but I do want to ask you, because I know that you had kind of the opposite of the argument here. Rachel had an example of a really good first date that she's gone on that she was going to share with you guys, so I would love to hear more about that.
Okay, so, and we have fictitious names for our people. It's Monique or Veronica. If you listen to us, you know. So if there was a Monique and Veronica in this audience tonight, we just apologize right up front. Sorry about that, but I'm not talking about you. So I had a date with Monique, and we went to the Balloon Museum. And if you haven't been to the Balloon Museum here in Austin, it's over the Louis TV on Anderson Lane. I highly recommend it as a first date or a date, but I'll tell you what I loved about it. It was clever, but what I really loved about it was that I got a chance to see this person and see if they were whimsical, fun, if they could be kid-like, if they could just be adventurous. I got to see if something about it made them nervous, because we were in a very strong sensory integrated situation. A lot of it kid-like, and then an experimental with sounds and all sorts of things. And so it gave I certainly was looking through that lens a bit. And then when we had dinner afterwards, I realized that I got a bonus, and that I think that's why she took me there, was to see if I had some of those skills and abilities, or to get a better sense of who I am. And there were several things. One is I love that she was that clever. And it's a great way to think about, a fun way to take a date with somebody, and without having to have conversation, you just get to watch them and see what they do. And if you care about those sorts of things, it's good to know if they have that side of themselves. The other piece of it, I'll say two more things about it. One thing I will say about this, I was thinking about this story. I thought, never in a million years did I think, as a queer woman, that I would be sitting on this stage telling all of you, a lot of queer women, that I was neck deep in balls and actually really loved it. So, okay, that's really sad, and it was wonderful. Oh my God, I know. I said it to myself over and over at night. But the other piece of it that was wonderful was that over dinner, I got a glimpse into someone's emotional intelligence. So it stoked up that opportunity for, it presented an easy conversation to see. And the piece that I loved was that she saw it too. She did it, I think, intentionally. And so I thought that was a great date. Anyway, so that's one.
Like, I like it. So shout out to Monique, if she happens to be here. Just in case.
Thank you so much. Oh my God.
I'm
I'm gonna kill you.
Was there a second date?
Yes.
Yeah. The question was there a second date? The answer was yes. Yeah, cliffhanger, exactly. So the point here is that you want to pick something for a first date that gives you a chance to interact with the person, that gives you a chance to see them in an environment where you can get a real glimpse of their personality. If you go out to a movie, you're not really interacting with the person. So just think, choose wisely. So we've gotten some cards from you guys about first date stories. So we're going to share some of these with you. Some of these are great. So here's someone says, I dated a straight girl in my sorority. She drove over my foot with her car, and I kept dating her.
Let's see.
So, Michelle, are you willing to stand up and tell your vampire dating story? So, for all of you out there, this is Michelle Casanova. If you watch our podcast, Michelle is our first guest on our podcast. And she blessed us with this story. And I'm going to tell you, she's the only one so far that's been brave enough to do this in life. That's why we have these cards, because people are chicken and they're writing it down and they won't stand up and do it. But Michelle here is a veteran on this microphone. So we get to you and let's hear about that crazy day here.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. Thank you, 1972 for having us here. And thank you to the powers that got me some All-Star party right out front. That was pretty cool. So I'm an older person, and many, many years ago, when I first moved to Austin, I met somebody through the Chronicle dating ads. If you want to divulge, and just raise your hand if you're familiar with the back page of Chronicle. And in a weird way, I really liked it because you didn't know what they looked like at first. So you weren't rejected until you met in person. And so that's a little bit different. So I was pretending to be a little bit cooler than I was, and I met somebody, and back then you had an assigned phone number. And it wasn't your number. You both called into a safe number, and that's how you would do it. And
A safe number.
A safe number. So we did some communication by phone.
A safe word.
Like safe word. I guess this is where you use that. So you're not bullying people. So we had some conversation, and she said that she was off. And at the time, this is like early 90s. She was doing headaches, and I'm like, oh, yes. So she said, why don't we meet at a bar on Red River? It was St. Patrick's Day. And I said, great, let's do it. I will be wearing this really big lime green bow in my hair. You will see me. I had not been to that bar. And when I went in, I actually ran into some people I knew, so I was playing pool. And then I feel a tap on the back of my shoulder, and I turn around, and there is a 6-foot-tall, amazingly, stunningly beautiful woman in full leather regalia with a long leather duster. She had these gloves. They were fingerless gloves, but they have the little spikes on the palm.
You definitely needed a safe word.
I just looked at her, and I thought I looked like. Do you all know the Munsters? You know how they've got that one cousin that looks just regular? That's how I looked that night. And then I turn around and I'm like this. And she says, would you like to go to my apartment? And I'm like, absolutely. I was an adult, and it was not drunk. So we left, and my car had been towed. So I'm in the car with the stranger, and she's taking me to the tow yard so I can pick up my car. And she is like, I'm not kidding, she was 6 feet tall. We all know Victor Victoria, that movie, and how beautiful her face was. Like, this is what this woman looked like. It was, I'm like, I'm not a dope. I'm probably in your car, yes. And this is pre-cell phone day. I'm fine, let's just do this. So we're driving down this really dark road, Slaughter at the time, didn't have any lights. And I'm looking at her, and I'm like, I'm sorry, but I need help to touch you. And I think I made her way more nervous than she made me. It was a little bit of a love connection. It was definitely a fantasy connection. But what I appreciated about it is I recognized an opportunity for something that you don't just run into every day. I did feel safe. I knew that I wasn't going to be attacked. I wish people these days could feel as safe as that. And we went out with, no, I'm going to be honest, we stayed in several nights. And then it ran its course, and that was it. But it's a wonderful story. And the first night we ever kissed, she was dressed in this magnificently white. Well, have you all seen Interview with the Vampire? Okay, like that, this magnificent white shirt. And she takes me to her restroom, and it's blacklit. It's got all these black and white pictures of movie stars. It's blacklit. And she's just coming at me with this white shirt. And that was our first kiss. And I actually make films, and I will be making a film about this because I thought it was a really interesting experience. But you know, dating is really hard, and I want everyone to just walk away with, it should be fun. It should be fun. You need someone, even if it's not a love connection or you don't get married, you need some people and you have a friend. And that's really what is the spice of life. So I appreciate my mask, I appreciate y'all listening to it. And I hope that some of the other people here will come up and say a story about their dating.
Thank you.
So the moral of that story is you definitely should have a safe word. And take chances. You never know when you're going to be a vampire. All right, you want to read another? Do we have anybody else in the audience that's willing to come up here and tell a story? It could be a really great story. Okay, awesome. Okay. Are you going to tell us? Are you going to do the one on the card? Because I think that's really good.
That's all right because
It's good. You do it.
you read it.
Yeah.
Hi, you guys. I'm Allison Tucker. I'm single. So the story I'm going to tell you is about the first day. Several years ago, there was a wonderful jazz club open over on 360, and I know how to date. And that's where I took her for our first date. And there was this lovely jazz music going, and booze was flowing at a normal rate. Nobody was over the clock. And conversation flowed. We finished dinner. It was pretty magic. I met this woman 25 years prior to this, and she found me online 25 years later. So she was still interested. That's what I found out. So the conversation was going on, and we were talking about books and movies, and all of a sudden, she says, "Do you like porn?" And I go, "Well, yeah." And she goes, "Which ones?" And I thought, and I said, "You know the names of them?" And she stopped really still, and she tipped her head, and she looked at me, and she said, "What is it exactly that you thought I just asked you?" And I go, "Pass, I don't need to repeat that." And she goes, "Do you like foreign films?" And I go, "Oh, we." So the happy ending is I did marry the woman and spent 14 years of my life with her, even though I couldn't hear very well. And she knew I already like born.
Thank you. You're around.
Thank you, Allison. Yeah, that's a great story. What do you do if someone asks us to like porn on the first date? Kind of like eating your onion. So here are two sort of religiously affiliated first date stories. One person that says, I got to second base with a Mormon. And the other one was, I dated a girl who was in an Amish adjacent home. So those are both great dating stories.
Anybody want to elaborate on that? There you go. All right. Oh, you come up? Yes. Okay. Come on.
Yeah, come on. So, we don't have any idea what the Mormon protocol is related to dating, so we're just reading the card. Maybe that's regular protocol, but it seemed to be.
I have never heard of that.
I know you don't. I'm just saying before you talk in reference to what we just read. I'm gonna be sure that we said the audience didn't really think about that. But that's somebody's story, just not yours.
It's not my story.
I have a different story. Whoa! Wow! There's a lot of people.
What's your name?
My name is Courtney. Yeah, so my story is I was like a baby thing, like really, I had just come out and I was so excited to be at Mount Hood College, about to start my first semester. And I found some friends on LiveJournal. And does anybody relate to finding LiveJournal? There's one person. And we were chatting, whatever, and we ended up going on a date. And well, I called it a date. She called it, apparently, years later, I discovered a maybe date. But the date, yeah, and maybe that's familiar for people too. And we went to sushi. It was actually my first time having sushi. And that was lovely. And then we went and watched, this is exactly what you said, don't watch a movie. And definitely don't watch Monster. I actually didn't really know anything about the movie except Christina Ricci was in it, and she was so cute. That's all I knew. Go watch that movie. So as I said, I was like really eager and excited, and just came out. I think it was probably my first date out, and she had just broken up with someone, and clearly this was like a rebound situation. And she went to, when we got home, I was still like, and she wrote a movie review and never was covered on it. Except, actually, the way this story was, 5 years later, we met again in San Francisco and got married. 2 years. I'm single now.
Do you have anything you want to say? Any therapist wisdom? Just dating? Good dates, bad dates? You know? Or we should put a wrap on it, maybe something.
Okay, anybody else have a dating story they would like to share before we wrap it up?
I've got the one.
Okay, we have one more from a card, and then we're going to bring up Deborah and Marlene and talk about 1972.
All right, so I'm gonna read this one off the card. Took a woman out to dinner and drinks, popped to the bar after dinner. Things got a little steamy. I do know who wrote this card, and I can imagine that it probably did get steamy. And a guy walked in wearing a dress, and she left with him and stuck her with the tab. Yeah. So we have told you some really great things, and we've told you some really.
We have one more dating story.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This is my son, Grant.
I'll make this as PG-13-ish as possible because my mom is the host. So I went on a date with somebody on Tinder. And on the way to pick her up, which was 45 minutes away, she was in another town in Northern California. And I was locally on a mountain. That's a qualifier for why I went on a Tinder date that far away. And on the way there, I got a message from her that said, hey, by the way, I got wisdom tooth surgery this morning, so I'm a little woozy. And I was like, okay, this is weird, let's go. Well, I picked her up, and I understood why she was woozy. She burped on the way into my car and had a half-drink 12-pack of Absolute Ribbon. And she got in my car and was like, what's up, dude? And I was like, oh my God, this is wild. So we get to the bar we're going to, and I go to the bathroom at some point. We're having a good time. But I go to the bathroom and I come back out to her sitting in a man's face and starts to like grab his shirt, tear it, like they're about to actually like throw down. And so I break up the fight. The bartenders break up the fight. They tell the guys, like, hey, you guys gotta get that fight. So the guys leave, and we're sitting there. We're like adrenaline pumping and stuff, and a Selena song was playing over the speaker. And she pulls me in for a fat kiss with cotton balls in the back of her mouth. And then she looks at me and asks me if I wanted to get some nitty bitty bum bum in the church parking lot next door. I'm done.
Thank you. We're just going to guess what bitty bum bum is. Yes, it was a Selena song after all. So before we bring these folks up, kind of putting a bow on this, those that watch the podcast know that we do have a main topic that we discuss, but there's just a lot of riffing between us. We've known each other a long time, and what we do like to do is laugh at ourselves because we are ridiculous sometimes, just absolutely ridiculous. And so we enjoy the humor and having fun with it, but we also throw in some, what we think are some really great pearls of wisdom. So on this one, the takeaway, I hope, here is that these stories actually are real and they sound ludicrous, right? So people are doing some crazy stuff out there. So when you get an opportunity to come to a bar like this and meet people in the flesh, you should take advantage of that because you get a chance to talk, and chat with them and see if they're crazy or if they're a vampire. That's cool, whatever you want to learn about them. But so that's one thing is we want to support these women as much as possible because they're providing us a space to do what we said we want, and that's to gather. Yes. The other piece of this is just that when you're going out and dating, give some thought to what you're doing and what you're asking somebody to do with you, because it can be, as people know, Sarah and I are kind of lop them off like a bad limb people. I mean, it can be a bad day and you just may not get another one. So just giving some great consideration. Austin is full of great and fun things to do, and also just really considering what you might learn setting up dates so you can really get in somebody's head or bed or whatever you're trying to do. I don't know, but
So I have a challenge to everyone who's wearing a sticker tonight, or even single, is before you leave tonight, I want you to go up and initiate a conversation with someone that you don't know. If you're here, you have a sticker on because you're single and you want to meet people. So take the opportunity while you have this room full of amazing women to do that. So now, without further ado, we would like to bring up Deborah and Marlene.
Without knocking, I apologize for this, but we're going to get them on the screens. You're good as long as we're not bothering you. All right, y'all shove in. I'm sorry, shove in so we can get you on the screen. We're trying to get this on we're live recording right now, so we're trying to get them in. Come on, Marlene, be brave, be bold. Get up in here, girl. Pretend like y'all touch each other sometimes. Get up in here. Here we go. I'm going to pretend like we like one another. Here we go. We're hoping this turns out as a good enough recording for us to post as one of our podcasts. That remains to be seen because Sarah and I are a lot of things, but technology savvy. Yes, there you go. Thank you. There you go.
All right. So first of all, we want to say thank you guys for creating this amazing space. Austin has been a really fun, a really long time. So we have so far we have one guest on our podcast, and that's Michelle, who you heard from earlier. But we want to start by asking our guests to tell us about your first kiss with a woman. So which one of you would like to go first?
Come on. Go there. There you go, Marlene.
Okay, first, this one is saying this is completely out of my comfort zone. I am a very private person, and I'm a mom, and I'm a grandma. And I'm in education, so I hope I'm not going to traumatize my students. Okay, here it goes. So I was probably 38, 39, had no idea I was gay. And we're using fake names.
Yes.
So
Veronica.
it's a Chris, because I don't know if any of you know that show, Abby and Lacey. And one was Christine, but she went by Chris. And we had that show in South Africa as well. I loved it. I should have known. Anyway, so Chris and I have been spending a lot of time together, and we were just having fun, looking off, and all of a sudden I don't know why, I just kissed her over her head, and then he said, "Can I kiss you?" And I'm like, yes.
Well, hell yes. Bring it.
And it's like those things that you see on TV where you see these sparks and they are transported to a different world. I'm like, my brain just went crazy and my body, and I'm like, wow, I've never actually experienced this before. And it was just amazing. And it was so many emotions and thoughts that ran through my head, but that's when I knew, this is what I want, this is what I like.
Thank you.
So I knew really early that I liked girls, probably about the third grade. I loved my music teacher who came in with her cleavage every day. And her red lipstick, and she wore a dress every day. But I lived in a very small conservative town, so didn't really know a lot about it. And we didn't have the internet. If I needed to learn about being a lesbian, I would have to go to the library. Couldn't go to the library in a little town of 3,000 because the librarian would call my mom and tell my mom, your daughter's looking at a book about being a lesbian. So I hid everything in. I hit 17 and met a woman that was a few years older than me, and she kissed me. And it was similar to you. It just affirmed everything that I knew, thought about myself, and that, holy crap, I do really love women. So that's my first kiss here at 17.
So I wanted to hear a little bit from you about how you decided to open the bar and what you guys hope will happen as a result of opening it, what you envision for this community.
So Marlene and I, which, by the way, my lovely wife, right? Well, she has a 60th birthday coming up.
Oh, wow! Yeah.
But she's amazing, inside and out. So we've been together for 14 years, and in that 14 years, we knew that in retirement we wanted to do something with purpose. And she works in education. She lives a life of purpose every day with students.
I did not have that. I worked in corporate America for almost 30 years. And it's all about money, money, money. And I didn't feel a purpose. And I was fighting the battle in a very heavy male-dominated company and industry. And so we thought, well, what about a lesbian bar when we retire? Those don't really work. The 2 a.m. dance clubs, right? We have that for those young people and the people who want to go do that. Yay to cheer us if you want to go do that. But we didn't have anything for the rest of us that didn't want to go do that. And they don't work until 2 a.m. So then we thought coffee shop, oh my Lord, that's a saturated market. And so in 22, I saw Jen Wynn open the sports bra in Portland. And we started watching all the articles, keeping up with her, and saw her build a beautiful community there in Portland. We traveled to Seattle in 2023 to Rough and Tumble and met with the owner, Jen Barnes, and we saw it in action. And it was beautiful to see all these people come together. Some of them, half of the room, were just there to visit and hang out. The other half were there to watch sports, but it was beautiful. And so we were very inspired that maybe this was our purpose in retirement, to have a place for women and our LGBTQ plus community. And with that, for both of us comes a lot of purpose. And so that's really kind of how we stepped into that. You want to add to it?
So if you were shooting for the moon, and this could turn into whatever you wanted it to turn into, what do you envision for the future of 1972?
When we went to Rock and Tumble, we saw that and we said, oh my gosh, this can really, really work in Austin. We don't have, at that point, we didn't have a professional team. Now we do. But we have UT, and the UT fans are amazing, and the UT girls teams are amazing. So we said, okay, you know what, this can work in Austin, and then, but since I'm an innovation, she, corporate America, and then after 6 months, nobody started, in pop here, and we are like, we're just gonna go for it. And what we envisioned was, to promote women's sports, women athletes, and they just sports in general. Like if you don't know about, the rules for soccer, you can come here and somebody will explain it to you. That's what, we love, and I love rugby, coming from South Africa, and I will explain all the rules to you.
Thank God. We don't know them. We don't know them.
Don't mess with those women. They're tough.
Yes, they are.
So, just for people to learn about different sports and support women athletes and just women's sports in general.
Awesome.
We still have a long way to go.
Yep.
One of the things we did at the very beginning is we went, if you don't know, Austin has a ton of women's sports teams. We have tackle football, we've got ultimate disc, we've got rugby, a couple of teams of rugby, we have lacrosse, there is everything. Basketball, there's women's basketball groups, volleyball. So we went to we even have granny basketball. Do y'all know we have granny basketball? Like we're gonna have them here, and we're gonna have some grannies play some basketball with y'all. But we went to all of those teams and said, what do you need in a space like this? And they all said they wanted a space to meet their fans. They wanted a space to have fundraisers because most of them are nonprofit and need money. And they wanted a place to come watch their favorite sport and hang out. And so part of our vision
is to be full of women, like all of you, meeting and hanging out, but to also be that for those local women's teams, because it is a ton of lesbian and non-binary brothers and sisters playing on these teams, and they need a space. And that's part of our vision, is to be that space for all of those folks here as well.
Well, you guys are doing a fantastic job, Judy. So thank you so much for letting us host our podcast here tonight. Rachel, you have anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
Let's wrap up in the usual way.
Okay. Oh, Deborah's got a story.
Well, so first, give it up for these two ladies on the podcast. I told them the other day I'm happily married, but I still learn something every day from their podcast, even though I'm not dating. So please spread the word, tell everybody you can about it. I think it's so informational and truly, I love it. Y'all have me, I'm driving down the road, laughing out loud, and it's really good. But the one thing I wanted to share, Sarah, I was in therapy for a while because I had a 10-year relationship that broke up years ago. And part of my process was to create a list. So for those of you out there dating, I want y'all to know about this list. I was told to create a column of what I wanted on the left, a column of what I did not want on the right, and in the middle was everything that I was neutral about. So I go and I fill out these, I think I've got it, I figured it out, and I go back and the therapist says, this is a process, it's not done. So I had to go back and define everything. Like if I'm looking for kindness, I had to actually give example, what was kindness to me? What was I looking for in kindness? So I worked on this freaking list like 6 months with my therapist, 8 months. It was a long process. The only thing in the middle was kids, because I love kids. If I found someone with kids, great. If I don't, that's okay too. So I sit on this list after working so hard on it, and I really just said, okay, dear Lord, here's my list. And I had been single for 2 years, sitting on this list, and this beautiful woman walked into one of the doors where I was. And she's the list. Like all the way to the kids.
Kids and all.
Yes, I got to help raise 2 beautiful children with this woman, but it worked. I was like, oh my God, this list worked. So create your dating list, what you want, what you don't want, and what's neutral, and really work the process because it works for me.
See, I love it. Awesome. One other thing I did want to say is if anyone is single and would like to be interviewed on a podcast, our podcast mentors, Shelly and Jody, are here tonight. Well, I think they might have just left, but their podcast is called Adjacent, and they have a segment called Single Ready to Mingle, where they will interview you on their podcast. So if you're interested in that, come see me after, and I'll connect you with those guys.
Let's wrap it on the
Okay, well, let's wrap it up as we usually do. We want to thank you all for showing up tonight and for listening to the Dateable AF podcast, where we help you find your happy ending.
And remember, be bold, be kind, and for the love of queer dating, don't text your ex, say Dateable AF. Thank you.